The Sports Scouting Report with Lee Burkeen, brought to you by Harvey Autos in Shreveport, Bossier City, the name you've trusted for years. Geico, the insurance savings you expect. Supreme Chevrolet, expect more from Supreme Automotive Group and Gonzalez. Total Car Care, tire shop and automotive repair in Baton Rouge. Bollinger Shipyards, 75 years of delivering high-quality vessels. And the Bugman, we get them before they get you. Here's your host, Lee Burkeen.
Welcome. Hi, everybody. I'm Lee Burkeen, your host of the Sports Scouting Report podcast. Also on Louisiana Football Magazine since 1997. Be sure to check out our website, lafootballmagazine.com, where we write stories of kids. We're still writing about the 224 class because today recruiting goes all the way to June, July. That's the new world we're in since the portal, since NIL, since you got two recruiting dates. You got a December signing day, you got a February signing day that's going on this week. I thought it was more important to promote the kids that need promoting, guys that you don't hear of. High school coaches telling people, please recruit this guy. He's not getting any offers. And this is a show to tell you why. I don't get a chance to talk 10 minutes a kid, but at least I'm giving you a little bit about them, letting you know they're legitimate. The coaches will back me up on this. And this show is going to be a great show about defense. Part 1, defense. We're going to talk about the D-line and the linebackers for the top players in South Louisiana, sleepers for the class of 224, our All Louisiana Football Magazine sleeper team defense. We'll come back. We'll talk about our defensive tackles and defensive ends. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Lee Burkeen, your host of the Sports Scouting Report podcast on our Louisiana Football Magazine. I hope everybody's having a good week. We've got our sleeper team for defense. This is part 1. We'll talk about the D-line. We'll talk about linebackers. And in part 2, different show, we'll talk about DBs, which would be corners and safeties, and our special team positions, punters, kickers, and long snappers. This will be a show with a lot of kids we're going to go through for D-line and in linebackers. We'll break it down exactly to the position I think they'll probably play in college, not so much what they played in high school. So let's start with defensive tackles, defensive ends actually first. We'll work our way to D tackles, and then we'll talk about linebackers. So let's go ahead and start with Hammond High School. Israel Amaker, who had a great career there, very much under the radar, has good size, can run. The key is he's a good football player, can run. Corey Smith, I have as a D tackle in there, but he's also a DN. 6'5", man, he's a specimen from Hammond. He'll have an opportunity to go junior college and then re-sign in 2 years to all the big guys, or sign late to a D1 school. Tyler Knighton's the same thing from Scotlandville. Tyler is a 3-year starter. Man, he's a specimen. I've watched him for 3 years. They didn't have a good year this year, but he was one of their better players. I think he's D1. And he might go JC, or he might go right to a small D1 school, either signing day this week or this spring. Michael Fulton from Barb is on the list twice. You'll hear his name later in the show as a long snapper. Michael, very athletic, very good student, a lot of room to grow. He could easily weigh 250 in 2 years. Brian Smith from Donaldsonville, 4'6" guy that played everywhere on the field for Donaldsonville High School. Braxton Simone from Breaux Bridge, what an incredible football player. Great size, and the thing is he can run and he's physical. I really like that about him, a guy that can really run. He's also tough. Continuing on, we got a lot of big talent defensive ends. Nicholas Choppin from St. James can run under 5 flat. Laramie Guidry started at Dunham, finished at U High. Physical specimen, man. This guy is probably going to be about 280, running a 5 flat or 4.9 in about a year. Taryn Cage from Madison Prep, another guy that can run, big guy. Digo Spears from Dutchtown, really loves his motor. Probably one of the best motors I've seen in the state. Dwayne Hartley from Salmon, off the edge, ran a 4.7. Albert Siebel from Westgate in New Iberia was another guy, 4.9 in the 40. Camden Womack from East Ascension started at St. Michael's. His freshman year is where I saw him the first time. I mean, this kid's solid 6'5", He's just starting to put his weight on. He's going to be about 250 in college. I hope he plays college ball because he just needs an extra year to put on those 30 pounds and still run about a 4.7 in the 40. Continue on, Ethan Frederick from Centerville High School, around the Lafayette area, great athlete, can run. LaDavian Wells from St. Aug, that a 4-man rotation at DN. He runs under 5 flat. Dale Smith from Lutcher, man, basketball all-district. That's why he's got great feet. Runs a 4.7 40. To me, would be a starter at a lot of schools in Louisiana, 1AA. Gideon Bowman from Destrehan. Gideon is, man, off the edge, has 4.8 speed. Nassar Hudson from Warren Easton, 1 year, 2 year guy. A lot of ability. They have guys every year, so you get 1 year to prove it at Warren Easton. Tyrick Fortra from Booker T. Washington in New Orleans, man, specimen. 1 year, 2 year guy that can really play. Watched him on film, and his teammate, Michon Allen, runs a 4.8, 4.9. Man, those two guys are a joy to watch at bookend for Booker T. Washington in New Orleans. Ted Jackson from West Feliciana, another great motor, phenomenal football player. Ted can run about a 4.8, 4.9, but man, he looked about a 4.6 on the field to me these last 2 years. Troy Key Butler from Ponchatoula, had a chance to play, see him play this year. Very impressed with his feet. Runs like a linebacker, plays DN. Sean Collins from North Shore has a great motor. 4.8 guy, man, relentless. Love his attitude. He's completely dialed in. Brennan Williams from Bruley just needs more time. Has a lot of ability. Somebody give him a chance. He's going to be a great player in college. Lance Zimmerman from Catholic in New Iberia. His dad, Richie Zimmerman, was a signee with ULM of Monroe, played at Catholic High with Donnie Jones back in the day. His dad was a hell of a football player at Catholic of Baton Rouge. Lance, like his dad, great feet, great motor. This kid's, he's tough. He runs about a 4.7, 4.8 at his size. Braylon George, another specimen from Central, can run, late bloomer. DeBarian Williams from Abbeville, same thing, runs a 4.8, can really go. Malachi Jackson from Dunham, 4-year starter, phenomenal player. Played O&D line, played the whole game for 4 years. But it's a D lineman only in college. He's going to be phenomenal, I believe. Contrell Scott from Walker, their best player on defense the last 2 years. Just needs to put on the weight and will be a big guy in college, can run. Braylon Handy from LaGrange, under the radar guy that runs 4.7, 4.8. Will get bigger. Tanner Terrio from Hanson, good-looking kid from Little Hanson High School in Franklin, Louisiana. Man, this guy runs about a 4.8, and he is super athletic. Continuing on at DN, Copeland Miller from St. Edmunds and Eunice, a small private school. Copeland, it really impressed me. His dad played college ball, I believe. What a great football player. Sandy Lewis from Lafayette Christian, under the radar guy that's going to play college ball, can go, runs a 4.9, 40. Jace Robertson from Thibodeau, 5'1" in the 40, looks about a 4.8. Could be a D tackle, could stay at that size and be a DN. And finally, another big-time sleeper, Miles Johnson from North Vermilion in Maurice, Louisiana. This kid runs about a 4.8, but man, he looks quicker than that on film. Can really, really play. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about D tackles. D tackles. You know, people look for them. Everybody wants a D tackle, but I've got a list of guys that are very much under the radar when we come back. Welcome back. Lee Burkeen, your host of the Sports Scouting Report podcast, owner of Louisiana Football Magazine since '97. And also, please, I want to tell everybody, hit the subscribe button, the share, and send. If you're a new viewer and you've never done it, it'll help us grow and do more. That is what allows us to bring more people on and raise money right now. Right now I'm doing it like a lot of people. We're growing it slowly. I'm really happy about the viewers we do have right now, and I'm really excited about the future. We're going to continue on, and I hope you're enjoying the show. Really work hard to make sure we can bring this to the public. I want to mention every kid that deserves mentioning that's a really good player. And it doesn't mean I'm just trying to find kids. I'm actually kids that deserve to be on the list, I want to talk about them. If they're not national recruits, or they're not don't have a star, they're not on 1 star or a 3 or 4 or 5. I don't get into the system as much as who can play and who can't, and at what level. And the list that we're talking about today, to continue on before I talk about D tackles, is a lot of these guys. Some of them are going to sign scholarships this week. Some have already committed and signed the first signing period, and a lot of the kids I'm talking about are not even getting offers, and they can play. It's because of the portal. It's because the portal's taking scholarships away from high school kids. Over 50% of the scholarships are going to portal kids right now. It might even be higher than that now, but I'm going by 3 months ago. 50% of the scholarships are being taken away from high school kids and going to transfer portal guys. And that's why I want to mention these kids that are not being recruited. It's not because they're not any good. It's because there's no scholarships. But don't give up if you're a kid or a mom and dad watching, because recruiting's going beyond February now. This is the new world we live in. So March, April, May, they'll be giving scholarships out still, because the portal opens up again in the spring, and they're going to have more scholarships again. It's going to be another season to sign. Even though the signing days have come and gone, December and February, they're going to be giving more scholarships out in the spring, because college is going to lose more players. For instance, LSU could lose 10 players in the spring when the portal opens up for the second time. It could happen. I'm not saying they will, but it could happen. That's the average amount of kids that are leaving in the spring now for college, is 8 to 10 kids. So there'll be more scholarships to give out. Let's continue on with D tackles. Kavion Williams from DeRitter, nose guard, born to play the position, can really move, has a motor. I've enjoyed watching this kid play the last 2 years, 300-pound player. Ja'Kalian Harrison, wow, what a big guy from Como and Lafayette. If you don't think Como has sleepers, what about Malik Neighbors? And what about the top receiver at Ole Miss this year? You know where the Ole Miss receiver went to school? Como. He was a teammate of Malik Neighbors. The 2 best receivers in the SEC went to Como, and neither one of them were 5 stars or 4 stars. Okay, so this is another guy I want to mention from Como High School, who's a nose guard that runs about a 5 flat. He weighs 340 pounds. Continue on, John Bernard, another big guy from Como, 295 in weight, can really move. Trey Williams from St. James, big guy, can run. Iman Gill from John Eyre, man, what a perfect nose guard. LSU, I wish they'd relook at the film. This guy can go. Kelvin Gray from East Ascension, the last 3 years have really impressed me. This kid has a big motor, high effort guy. Romel Williams from Kennedy, John F. Kennedy in New Orleans, had a great career, can move. Continuing on, Shane Mitchell from North Central, a very small school in the outskirts of Lafayette, really can move. I love this kid's feet. Caleb Fox from Northside in Lafayette, big nose guard, again, good feet. I know it sounds like a record. Everett Volpe from Edna Carr, really good feet. Talon Bingham from Terrebonne, not only good feet, but very tough, from Terrebonne in Houma, Louisiana. James Jones, I thought was a great under-the-radar guy I watched this year from Catholic in New Iberia. Jason Powell from Ellender caught my eye, a late bloomer that can really run. Terrence Allen Jr. from Terrebonne, another kid from Terrebonne and Houma, can really run. Dekai Cooks from Morgan City, under the radar, 3-year starter. Jaron McCall from Destrehan. Destrehan rotated 7 D tackles the last 2 years. So it's kind of hard to judge one guy when they all weigh 300 pounds. He's a sleeper. Sean Davis from Booker T. Washington. Their whole D-line can play college ball. Isn't that amazing? One high school, all 4 D linemen are 6'3" or over 280. Dallas Vernon from Liberty in Baton Rouge started his career at Independence, 345 pounds, and can run a 5 flat on a good day, and looks faster than that. I saw him at Independence when he weighed 360. Troy Toney from Baker can really move, high effort guy, really impressed with this kid. Southern University should be all over him. I think he could start there right away. Christian Hill, another local kid from Bel Air in Baton Rouge, great feet the last 3 years, has done a great job as a D tackle. Jeremiah Jackson from Lafayette Christian. Melvin Hills played at Lafayette Christian. He signed with Texas. This is the guy that nobody talks about. 1-year guy with great feet, runs a 4.9 40. Antonio Turner from White Castle, 3-year starter, really good feet. Dwayne Coleman, that's right. If you see up there, he weighs 380. At one time, he weighed 400. I went to practice in 222 and watched this kid at Salmon. I watched him this year on film. He runs a 5 flat 40 at 380. He is committed and a heck of a football player. Kedrick McDaniels from Bel Air runs a 4.8 40 at 295 pounds. You know, that's a great school and known for a lot of sleepers. The O-line coach from LSU, Coach Davis, he was a walk-on to Oklahoma from Bel Air. Nobody recruited him. Kedrick McDaniels is the next one. I think he would be a great player at LSU if they gave him an opportunity. The guy's legit. One more D tackle that I want to mention that's under the radar from St. Martinville. I had a chance to see this kid in full pads his senior year. Week 2 went to practice. Danrick Lee, 6'2", all of 290, great feet, raw, but the thing is he can move and he gives high effort. I hope you enjoyed the D-line, D-tackles, D-ends. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about outside linebackers when we come back. Welcome back. I'm your host, Lee Burkeen, Sports Scouting Report podcast, and also owner of Louisiana Football Magazine. I hope you enjoy the show. I hope I'm not boring you with all this talent and information, but it is legitimate. And I do know that mom and dads appreciate it. I know the kids do. And I know the coaches do, because a lot of people don't promote outside of the kids ranked. It's because you got to do your homework. And you got to really watch a lot of film, which I do. And you got to go to a lot of games. And you got to do this over a 3-year, 4-year period to watch the same kid play. And you get to see them get better every year. A kid as a freshman that might start, you can't judge him. You can't judge him as a sophomore. But at least you say, hey, that kid has some talent. He's raw. And when he hits his junior year, he might not be filled out yet. And his senior year, he might not be filled out yet. But you know that kid, given another year after the age of 18, when you go to 19, 20, you start putting on your weight. You go in a weight room. You get strong. And if you can run, you'll be a great player. And that's why we're talking about the players on this show. And we call it the sleeper team, because that's what this is about. Sleepers. We're going to continue on for our defense part 1. Linebackers. Let's talk about outside linebackers. We've got a few of them to mention. Let's start with Digo Davis from Plaquemine. This guy runs a 4.6 40, and he reads and hits. He is a physical, big-time hitter, and I think he's D1. You might say Lee's 195, but guess what? He'll be 220 in 6 months. He'll run. He'll be a great player in college. Remember the name. He's not getting any D1 offers, but I think he's D1. Jolly Matthews from Terrebonne and Homa, another great player that can run. DeMarco Roberts, Cecilia, played some DN stand-up, was a pass rusher. I think he could be a true linebacker. He can gain a lot of weight in college. Elijah Simon from Lake Charles Prep, very heady, can read, can run. Kajon Eccles from Madison Prep impressed me a lot with his ability to read and hit. Daryl Frazier, 6'2" legit from Maine Mead. They got so many great players there. Lost in the shuffle, but man, he can run. Bryce George from Lafayette Christian, under the radar, can run a 4.6. Hurley McDonald, 4-year starter from John F. Kennedy High School. Interesting story here with Hurley. Hurley actually, before his senior year, got hurt, got shot, and recovered from being shot going into his senior year, and had a phenomenal senior year. In junior year, he was captain on defense. Sophomore year, he was a captain. This is an extraordinary young man that's overcome a lot in his life, and he runs a 4.6 40 and can really play the game. Kudos to you, Hurley, for not giving up and overcoming a lot of injuries and major surgery to get back on the field. Zachary Drake from John Curtis, to me, is a big-time player. He played a little DN outside linebacker as a pass rusher, but with his hand down, I really think he could be a linebacker in college. I love his effort. I love his ability. He's going to put on a lot of weight in college. Riverside, Jaden Butler, same way, can run and read, going to get heavier. Most of these guys I mentioned will gain a lot of weight easily in college. Jamal Sapp, specimen, going to get thicker, be 230 real quick. Amari Gradney from McKinley, what a great under-the-radar safety I saw this year, but I think he's a linebacker. He's a big guy. Messiah Simeon from Hamilton Christian. Had a chance to be around this kid this fall. Man, what a great kid and a phenomenal specimen that's going to get better and better. Played all over the field for Hamilton, which everybody went both sides of the ball for that school. Walter Robinson, what an intense young man from Jennings. What an incredible football player. He's a tackling machine. He's like Pac-Man, man. The guy just continues on, can do it all. Alan Hayes under the radar from Turlings Catholic. Skylar Sanders and Byron Jennings from Amy both run 4.6. Lamar Bolden from East Ascension grew into a linebacker. Jaden Cook, linebacker, plays some DN for the school. Joseph Hobby, phenomenal specimen at East Ascension High School. Jordan Luma from Opelousas Catholic grew into a linebacker. Savius Dunn from Port Allen can run a 4.6. Cedric Harris from Bell Chase, very athletic, underrated. Isaiah Grant from Newman was a former wide receiver that gained 30 pounds his senior year, can really go. He runs a 4.640. I love this name, Classy Ballou Jr. from Barb. Has a 3.8, 4.0 GPA, a high ACT. Big physical specimen at Barb. Late bloomer, has overcome a lot of injuries. I think this kid's a sleeper to sign. Harry Beecham had close to 400 tackles in his career at U-High. Broke a lot of tackling records. What a heady guy. I think he would be a great linebacker at a lot of D1 schools, actually. Kincaid Hendup I had up earlier as a tight end from Patrick Taylor in New Orleans. Taylor Mahoney from Riverdale, just a physical specimen. Will hit you. Mike linebackers. Continuing on, we're going to take a break and finish the Mike linebackers, which is a long list when we come back of great South Louisiana sleepers, Mike linebackers. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Lee Burkeen, your host of Sports Scouting Report podcast. Also owner of Louisiana Football Magazine since '97. Be sure to subscribe if you're a new viewer or listener. Subscribe, share, and send to help us grow. Do that if you're a new coach or a mom or dad or a kid watching. Just help us grow. We can do more and more. Hope you enjoyed the show. We're going to continue talking about linebackers, sleepers, South Louisiana, part one of our defense. We're going to go ahead and continue on about Mike linebackers, guys that are going to play the middle of the field, guys who can tackle in space, physical, strong linebackers. The next guy is Andre Matthews from Jeanerette, right outside of Lafayette, a great football player, a physical player. Alex Rodriguez from Bonneville, really caught my eye the last 2 years. Ben Harrison from North Lake Christian, played all over the field for them in Slidell. Tyrese Dixon from Higgins, specimen under the radar guy. Blake Bowie from Dutchtown, had a great senior year. Eric Levain from Kinder, outside of Lake Charles, what a super football player he is. Jonathan Prophet, man, Madison Prep, his fan favorites, Alabama. When I talked to him earlier this year, he's a leader. He was MVP of the team. Runs a 4.6, can really play the game. Tri Bynum, played a little DN for DeRitter, but I think he's a linebacker in college. Andrew Williams from Westgate can run, very physical. They have so many players there. Caden Broussard started at John Curtis, finished at Lakeshore, and specimen of a player. Played DN, but I think he could play Mike linebacker. He runs a 4.8. Big guy, as you can see, can really go. Rasheed Johnson from Leesville, one of their best players this past year, can really run, tough guy. Javen Harrison, physical, big guy, can play from Como and Lafayette. Naaman Bennett, 4-year starter from Berwick, under the radar, 4.6 guy. I think he's D1, can play some D1 ball. Adrian Preen Jr. from St. James High School, started his career at Ascension Catholic in Donaldsonville, finished at St. James, runs about a 4.6, 4.7 in the 40. He's a thumper. His teammate, Cheney Naylor, same thing. They look like clones. Both can run. Frederick Hitchens from Scotlandville played a little DN. I think he's a linebacker in college. Mike Shaquin Isom from East Ascension, physical specimen, downhill, knock you out. Colin Rocks from Letcher, phenomenal football player, also a gunner on special teams. You don't see that a lot with your star linebacker. Taji Johnson, Warren Easton, late bloomer, big guy, can run. Jalen Anderson played a little DN for Slaughter. I think he's a Mike linebacker. Chris Cooper, if that name sounds familiar, I should have put Junior on there. His dad is Chris Cooper that played at LSU way back from West Jefferson High School. Had some injuries this year, but like his dad, a thumper, can hit. Alex Collins, also from Woodlawn, a late bloomer. Wesley Marion from Parkview Baptist, what a stud. Played some fullback for the team when they needed him. Caleb Archman, also from Parkview Baptist, another specimen that can play the game. We got a lot of Mike linebackers to talk about. Continuing on, we've got about 5 more kids to mention. Ashton Raymond from Southern Lab, very physical, another Southern Lab, future D1 starter. Cameron Peterson from Zachary, and Ethan Veal, who signed with UL, the Raging Cajuns, from Zachary, very heady player. Hayden Hernandez from St. Thomas More was a leader for them for the last 2 years, born to play Mike linebacker. Trent Santos from Holy Cross in New Orleans, phenomenal football player for that program. I hope you enjoyed the show. I hope you enjoyed hearing about the D-line, the linebackers, and a little advice for parents. Again, don't give up, mom and dads in Louisiana. If you're listening anywhere in the state, don't give up, because the new world we're in is that kids are signing at record amounts after the second signing period. There's going to be some scholarships. They're going to be open again after the second portal. So don't give up. Don't give up your dream. There'll be a lot of players still available to sign in the spring for even D1 schools. But I hope you watch part 2 of our defense. It's going to be corners, safeties, kickers, punters, and long snappers. And we'll see you on part 2. Hope you enjoyed the show. God bless.
Thanks for watching the Sports Scouting Report with Lieber King.